I'll start if you want. Or
Go on
Pat, do
then.
you want to start? I'll start. All right.
Is now.
Yes,
Easy now.
now.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Drive Talk podcast, episode 70, I believe.
70, it is.
Wow.
I can't
Wow.
believe the last episode we missed out all the jokes on 69. I can't believe that.
Yes. Well, we could get something in this one and backdate
Yeah,
them. While we're
exactly.
talking about that, I think we are about 350 subscribers away from 10,000 subscribers on YouTube and about 450 followers away from 10,000 followers or friends on Instagram. So if you're not subscribed and you don't follow us on Instagram, then please do. We also have a Facebook page, which is now outshining both of those with over 15,000 friends, followers.
Is it really
So
15,000
15,000, and
on Facebook?
we
Oh my
started that
God.
less than a year ago. So Facebook
Yeah.
is going really well.
Hey
So
Joe,
really
can we not
appreciate.
can we not just buy some followers?
We could do, yeah. I mean, it seems like the way forward at the moment is just by fakery.
Yeah.
There is a
We're not, we
whole. I think we need to. There's another podcast talking about the state of all industries and fake numbers. But I think we'll leave it until that episode.
yeah, we don't want to get you talking about that, mate, because this episode will be like about 4 hours long.
Exactly.
Oh,
How's
dear.
it going, guys?
So, yeah, good. Do you know what I'm most excited about in this episode? Is finding out Amigate. Where's the next thing? But so we're going to have a chat with Pat about the Ami and get the latest details on that. We're going to have a chat about Monterey Car Week, but also in this episode we have set ourselves another car finding challenge based on the affordability of new cars, and we've given ourselves 3 different monthly budgets for a car finance plan. And let's see what we've come up with. What were it was £250 a month, £500 a month, and then was it £750, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was all based on a theoretical, 6 to 10,000 miles PCP and a 10% deposit. So what the standard, like you see in the windows when you go shopping for cars or you're looking
So I'm
online.
very much looking forward to seeing, because I have a feeling I'm going to lose this one. I might have won the last challenge with my Lotus Electra, but I think I might lose this one.
I don't know. You might be able to get a Lotus Electra $750 a month, can you, on a PCP these days?
I know, yeah, maybe less than that. Maybe it could be in the 250 a month one. Can't give them away. So come on, Pat. We need to know about the Ami. Should we do a quick recap in case anyone's tuning in for the first time on their Ami gate? Give us a very brief potted history about your Citroen Ami. What is it? When did you buy it? And why is it an issue?
Talking of cheap PCPs and can't give them away, I bought a Citroen Ami because they couldn't give them away. They did a PCP deal on them where, for me at least, it was £0 down as a deposit on a PCP and £62.78 a month. And I thought that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And so far, it's actually been away for longer than I've owned it.
How many days have you actually had it?
Parked downstairs. It was delivered almost exactly a month ago. If I actually go look, it was delivered on the 16th of July, and I sent them an email with about issues exactly a month today. It got collected, I think, on the Monday of the next week, or at least the next week. And yeah, I haven't got it back yet. It's
So you had it like 3 days or something?
Yeah, I probably had it I'd say I wasn't there, but about a week. And it's been away for 3 weeks so far.
What was wrong with it, mate? Was it a bit, bit pony?
It arrived rusty and looking 3 years old, because it turns out, as we found out, that it was 3 years old. It'd been sat out of port in Sheerness, which I should correct is in Kent, not in Essex. For some reason, I just assumed it was in Essex, but no, it's in Kent. Yeah, the car turned up 7 miles on the clock, but rusty bolts, rusty wheels, damaged wheels as well. Just in bad condition, bird poo all over the vehicle. And as a new car experience, obviously I've got a brand new car, registered to me as first owner, 7 miles on the clock. It just wasn't the expectation that I had for a new car experience, and kind of irrelevant of the price point of the car, because it was really cheap. It was, circa £4,500 RRP, as it were, on this finance deal. I was still kind of a bit disappointed, and so my principle back to Citroen was simply present the car back to me as if it's brand new. I don't care how you get there. Here are a list of my concerns and issues, and just bring it back to me brand new. I thought that was quite an easy ask. It's 2 window bolts I could just go buy at B&Q, 4 wheels that are probably 30 quid each, right? They're just steel wheels. They're nothing special. Some new tires, which should have come on the car anyway. I mean, as we discussed before, kind of slightly flat. I think they were underinflated by 8 psi, sat for 3 years in direct sunlight is not how you store tires. That is not the way that tires should be preserved and presented. And obviously that becomes then a real safety concern as well. And also for the cars to just, come back clean and look lovely.
Well, sounds like a big ask, that,
I have
Pat.
argued...
I mean, what do you reckon, Joe? Buying a new car and wanting it to, I don't know, be delivered like a new car?
Yeah, it's a bit of a liberty take, really.
Mate, I don't know. I can't believe what
I was
a terrible
asking a lot.
customer you are.
So, talking of customers, customer service has now been enacted. I've got to a customer service specialist, so away from the AMI team themselves. And I think the last time we had an update was that they had kind of said that they will fix all these issues, and we wait to hear back and receive the car back. Since then, a few of the issues they've kind of tried to avoid fixing. And I don't know if it's because I'm just a persistent customer, obviously because I made them aware of the podcast that we've done, or like why my issues have been now escalated and will hopefully be almost fully resolved. But the biggest thing that they kind of not refused to, but were avoiding fixing was the rusty brake hubs. And so that obviously then protrudes through the front wheels. And so as much as they replaced the wheels and tires and they replaced the bolts in the windows, the photos they sent back to me, the second or third time of saying the car was done, was that you could still see this rust through the front center of the wheels. And so my point was, I understand that maybe, and Joe, you can speak on your BMW experience here. I appreciate that might not affect performance, but it still doesn't look like a brand new vehicle. Like brand new vehicles should not be, or even nearly new vehicles should not be delivered with visible rust. If they go rusty after 6 months because of where I live or because of the terrible materials, it is what it is, right? That's just a reflection of the product, but or your environment. But like for it to, again, for Citroen to be happy to present a car looking brand new but with visible rust, because I think I think it was 2 or 3 times they sent me photos and said, your car is done, are you happy with it? Like, we can send it back to you. And both times I had to say no. The first time they hadn't changed the window bolts, which I feel like was like the most obvious orange bit of rust on the car. The second time they hadn't replaced those front hubs. I've since had a kind of an off the record, on the record phone call with Citroen where the woman explained to me that she was obviously could understand and was also displeased about the condition of the vehicle, and that to give us some extra time to then fix the final issues, which for me was the backlight on the screen and for the brake hubs. They've since agreed, and they're ordering in, as we record this tomorrow, the new brake hub should be fitted, and so that rust would then be absolved, we would hope. However, the final point on this is the screen. So I can overlay a picture of the screen. It differs in different lights, but the main thesis of this is that on the left-hand side, the screen is very bright, as it should be, and it shows the battery kind of level and the range. And the further you go to the right, where it's got the drive, neutral, reverse, and it has obviously part of the speedo, is dimmer, like noticeably dimmer, particularly at night when, obviously that contrast you would see on a screen like that would be most prevalent. And so for me, my argument is the screen's broken. One side is less dim than the other, whether that's been stuck in the sun because it's been at a port for a few years, or whether the screen was just produced, broken. I don't know. That's not really the point. It's that I've got a screen that is dimmer on one side than the other. Now, Citroen and the AMI team have gone to the port and looked through the other cars in the port, and they said this is a common feature, is their exact language. This is a common feature that the right-hand side of the screen is dimmer than the left-hand side. And so for that reason, they won't replace it or fix it.
That's it. Was that an optional feature, or did that come standard?
Yeah, I don't remember ticking that box.
Can I have a defective screen? Yeah, that sounds like a great feature. I'll have one of them.
But yeah, so after all of this, after many back and forths and a lot of to and fro with them to kind of hammer home my point, the one thing they won't replace is the screen. And I get it again from an internal understanding how these businesses work and how hard it would be to replace that screen. I get it, but from how they should represent their brand and deliver a new vehicle, if every one of the screens looks like that, they're all broken. That's called a recall.
Yeah,
That's not called a
yeah.
feature.
And
Like they should all be sent back, and they should all have
Pat,
new screens. It shouldn't just be called a
Pat, you're
feature.
being very, very generous saying, I get it. Because I don't. It's a new car.
No, no, I
I don't
agree.
care
I
whether
100%
it's
agree.
a 7 grand car or a 70 grand car. The screen's not working properly. It's wrong. And I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone from
Yeah,
Citroen
so
is watching this, by the way, please get in touch and explain how you can possibly call that a feature. And I think at one point they said the rusty wheel hubs were a feature.
yeah, they tried to
I
wiggle
mean,
out of
even in
replacing those
even
and
in the
fixing those,
heyday of
didn't
Italian cars rusting, if like a drop of water fell on them back in the day when Italy's government bought a whole bunch of cheap steel from Russia in exchange for debt, and that basically nearly brought Fiat to the ground. Even those cars were still delivered without rust on them on day one. They might have had rust on them a couple of weeks later, but on day one, you don't expect to have rust on your car. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Joe, you can speak about this because was it your first or one of your very first BMW forum posts was about rusty
Yeah.
hubs, right?
So I know BMW, and I'm sure a number of other manufacturers have been through similar issues. But back in like 2005, 2006, 7, or a lot of the E and F generation BMWs all came with rusty or delivered with rusty wheel hubs. And the wheel hub that you see on the majority of modern cars is actually is usually part of the actual disc assembly. So you see the hub part of where the disc bolts on. And for whatever reason, back then, they just didn't cover that that sort of exposed metal, and it was, I guess it's like strengthened steel or whatever it is for a disc, in any kind of paint or anti-corrosive stuff. So it would rust very quickly. Obviously, especially after you've used like, whatever kind of chemicals on your wheels to clean them, because you use stronger wheel cleaning stuff, right? And I had like my 130i, which at the time I bought it as an approved car, so it was 4 or 5 months old. But when I picked it up from the dealership, they were like so rusty, the hubs. And I spoke to the dealer at the time, and they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, well we can't do anything now, but speak to BMW." And it was a bit like your story, back and forth. And then after doing stuff, putting stuff on Baby BMW forum, I soon discovered that it was a nationwide issue, and it wasn't just the 1 series, it was the 3 series and maybe the 5, any of the cars that use that disc especially. And BMW's answer was, and I've probably got an email somewhere, but their customer service at the time was, the reason it was particularly bad on my 130i was because of the alloy wheels that car had, because they were quite minimal, and they're really nice looking wheels. Obviously, they weren't like a blocky alloy; they're quite open, so they allowed you to see more inside of the wheel hub, and that's why it looked particularly bad on my car. Not the fact that the hubs were really rusty and orange. The fact that
You can
I'd
see
got the
'em.
most expensive 1 series with the nicest wheels, but they showed off the rust. They showed off that feature. So yeah, it's definitely an issue that has been around for a long time. But I think
Have they ever heard of Hammerite?
well,
Paint it with something.
they did, the last thing they said to me, and I think the last email they said was you could take it down to your local dealer, and they would paint your wheel hubs free of charge, but you had to pay for the paint, which I think at the time, nearly 20 years ago, was about 250 quid. So I could pay a dealer to paint my hubs for 250 quid, which is probably £500 in today's world. I mean, it's just, you couldn't make it up. But I think the Citroen thing, it's interesting, because if it was like, if you'd bought that from like Toys R Us or something, or like, let's say if we knew it was a toy that you could use legally as an AMI, we probably wouldn't be sitting here as aggressively talking about it over 3 or 4 podcasts. But I think the fact that it's got a Citroen badge on it, and I've seen someone's comment recently on the most recent AMI Update podcast. Someone said, "Oh, well, seriously, guys," or "Patrick, what do you expect you know, it's a five. You didn't buy it from a dealer. It's a $5,000 car. Blah blah. But you know, as we've all said, that doesn't matter. It's being sold to you as a brand new product from a manufacturer. And I'm sorry, if you're going to put your name behind a product that is probably, I don't know where it's assembled, but of course it's not going to be up to the same level as a Citroen real car. Sorry, Pat. But you're putting a name on it and you're selling it as a new product. So that's your problem. You know, it's not my problem or Pat's problem. And I think that's what it all stems down to is, yeah, it's a bargain. And we started off by saying that before you picked out what a bargain it is. My God, I wanted one. We all wanted one. Do we want one now? Probably
No.
not.
No. And I think we all know what manufacturers traditionally do when they have a glut of cars they can't sell that are beyond the traditional timeframes of delivering in new cars. You just pre-register
Yes.
them. You just pre-register them and you give them out to dealerships, or they go out into the network somewhere, or they end up at
Yep.
auctions, and then you just have a few Amis out there with 0 miles on them or 5 miles on them that are all going for slightly below list. But what a great deal, because you're getting it for 7 when it's worth 8, you know, with 12 months later. But clearly, and I know I've spoken to a few brands, and I won't mention their names, quite a few brands like holding back models of their vehicles that haven't been sold new, that may have already been imported into the country. Because the problem they have is, obviously, if you put a glut of cars onto the market and the demand isn't there, the price drops because everybody's trying to sell their car. And I'm sure you'll see this with Amis now. When I bought my Ami for 4,500 new, people are selling used Amis 2-3 years old for £4,500 to £5,000 because they're an £8,000 car. So that's about where the market was. And now it's like my guaranteed final value is £3,500. And so why would I buy a 3-year-old one when I've got a brand new one for the... So the whole market's going to have to drop to reflect that. And I have recently seen that Amis are actually now sold out. So this glut of cars that they clearly had left over are now sold out. They're done. Citroen have done the right thing in terms of they have extended this PDI, as I understand it, and they've actually sent emails to everybody, because I'm now in an Ami owners club group on Facebook, and so I'm not the only person that's arrived with rusty wheels, rusty bolts, and had issues with them, which is good to see that I'm not just a lone case on my side. But also the vehicles, people that are ordering them, that ordered them in July at the same time as me, are having emails saying that their car is delayed 4 to 8 weeks because they're going through extensive checks. I would hope that they're replacing rusty parts up front so people get cars delivered correctly. I know other people had issues, we discussed it before, with belts as well, and that they're getting tensioned or replaced or inspected at least. And so Citroen clearly have taken this seriously on that side, that they are now addressing those issues up front so people get cars delivered new that look new. But yeah, like I said, from the start, they were very like, oh yeah, of course, we'll happily like fix those or look at those issues. And then the more and more I got down the line, the more and more evasive they have got about fixing what are obviously, if you were to list the items from most expensive to cheapest, or easiest to hardest to replace, you know, they really start arguing the further down the list you go. And like I said, my whole thing from the beginning, and I've been very transparent about the podcast and the fact that, look, we're just going to say what happens here, because we can only be journalistic in this. We can only tell the truth. I just want a new car delivered, and if that is going to take you 3 weeks and me to waste a lot of time arguing with you, well, so be it. But at the end of the day, it won't be my brand and image that's reflected negatively in this. It's yours, and you get to choose. They actually did offer the car back to me before the brake hubs and the screen, because, like I said, a few times they sent me photos and said the car's ready. I actually accepted the car back. I just said, yeah, sure, just send it back. I can't be bothered with all this back and forth. It's an Ami. It's 60 quid a month. I know it doesn't affect performance. It doesn't matter that much. Give it back. I'll just update the podcast and let them know. And that's when I got a phone call from the person who worked for the customer service team, and she said, give me another 48 hours. That was 2 weeks, like not last week, the week before. So like 8 days or something ago. And although I know the work is apparently being completed tomorrow, obviously then the car needs to get back to me. So hopefully by the end of this week I have it back. But you know, it was now on them to be proactive. But they seem to avoid the screen question until I asked them again. And they said, no, the screen is definitely a common feature across all of them.
You're cutting out,
Pat's internet's going. Look,
Pat, your internet's died. Well, it's going to be interesting to see his story. And I mean, I'll just carry this on by saying that a guy called Mark Tiff, who runs a YouTube channel called Real World Plumbing. He's been to our, he's a fan
Oh
of the pod.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah. I know.
watches,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
came to our live at Cafe and the Machine
yeah,
that time. So he actually was one of the guys that bought a Ami off the back of our initial video, obviously. But then I, as soon as I heard the bad news, I updated him, and he was like, "No," he said it doesn't matter, even though I know it's going to come with issues, because as an advertising tool for him and his business, he said it's worth its weight in gold, like covering
yeah,
you know, the not
yeah, yeah,
PPFing, wrapping it in cool
yeah,
branding. But it'd be interesting to, well, firstly, I've said to Mark, it'd be great to get him on the pod one day and just talk about his world, because it's such a different world to what we're in, and YouTube and stuff. But
yeah,
also, it would be great to get an update on how his car was delivered,
yeah, yeah,
and if he ends up going through similar sort of issues as Patrick.
yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully not too many others went out and bought bought one off the back of the original video.
I would be all right. That's fine. It's only
Yeah,
£60 a month. Well, it looks like Pat's like fallen off the end of
yeah.
the earth. Look, yeah, never mind. We can
Have you
carry
got
on.
have you got a horrible still of him on your screen?
Yeah, it doesn't look. It's
Yeah.
not very. Oh
Oh,
look!
he's
Oh, he's
gone.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's
Oh,
back
and he
again.
came back. Uh,
Oh well. Um, well, we were. The next thing we're going to talk about was Monterey Car Week,
yes.
because
Yeah.
it's done it again. And I was talking before we started recording. Every year, I always think I'd love to go to Monterey Car Week, and then totally forget about it, and then you just start seeing other kind of creators out there and posts coming through, and like, oh, I've missed it again. And I
Yeah.
think it's one of those events. I know we talked to Pat about it last year on the pod.
Yep.
Very much one of those events. I think you need to go with someone who's been before, or with a
Yep.
brand that's going to kind of take you to all the different places and stuff.
Because it seems
Um,
massive, doesn't it? There's always different areas,
yeah, and
and
it's one of those things where there's lots of cool things happening, but I think you kind of need to know where the cool things are happening and when to
yep.
otherwise you just I'd be in the area and I'd miss everything. I'd be sat in my hotel room and wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
But there, yeah, with that, there's been some cool cars. You quite like the Gordon Murray. I can't believe they're doing a back date of a McLaren F1, basically.
Oh, I mean, a lot of the super high end, ridiculous stuff doesn't really interest me. I can appreciate it, but it doesn't interest me because I know I'll never be able to afford it.
Yeah,
And it's just so expensive that even if I could afford it, you know, would I go out and drive it hard? Or, but there's a few, you know, there are some diamonds in the rough, if you like. Does that make sense? Probably not.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
like that. That when I saw it, I mean, it's just it is a modern interpretation of the F1, isn't it? And it's just
yeah,
it's beautiful, and it's just the perfect everything about it, and it's no surprise because it's the same guy. You know, it's Gordon Murray. What,
yeah,
25 years on, or 27 years on,
yeah,
30 years on, whatever it's been. Um, I mean, that I would have that in a heartbeat, but I wouldn't because they made 5 and they were all commissioned for one customer. I think it's like a special operations, right?
yeah. The thing is, though, right? You look at it and you go, well, for me, the McLaren F1's perfect anyway. I
Yeah,
just think I've always it's always been my favorite car ever made. That and the F40 probably, but I think the McLaren F1. There's something about it. So you take what already is a fairly perfect car and then make it even more lovely is quite a special thing, and could probably only have been done by Gordon Murray.
yes, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, no, very very cool.
yeah.
But yeah, it does make
We
you
need
just
to.
feel really poor.
It does, yeah. But I think we need to get out there at some point because it seems, looking again on the internet at people there, like you said, as long as you've got someone that can point you in the right direction and give you the like, you need to be here at 3 o'clock on Wednesday or whatever.
Oh,
Everything seems quite accessible, apart from
yeah,
like, I know Pat was dying to talk about his quail cap that he's got on. I'm sure there's
yeah,
certain areas and places you can't get into. But just those morning drives that I know Pat and Roger Chan went on, like on
yeah,
that sort of peninsula bit. I mean, that to me would just be, you know, park up and just watch that traffic come through
yeah,
and the
yeah, yeah.
ridiculous cars in that beautiful setting. And yeah, it's. I know Roger Chan's over there at the
It,
moment.
it is, yeah. It would be one of those events, though. I'd love to go to, but I'd like to go there and just not make any content and just go and enjoy it.
Yes.
You know, if you go,
Yep.
you only go to some of these events and you've got to make content, it almost detracts from making content. I mean, Box and Gas was a classic example. I had a plan to do like a vlog of Box and Gas,
Yeah.
and I got in my car to drive home, and I'd been in my car about 10 minutes and suddenly realized I forgot to film it. I never took the camera out the car. It's like, oh man, I was having too much of a good time. But
Yeah.
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 And
Well,
then
it's
they
like,
had the other nuts car is that Ferrari SP3. It was like black and yellow livery, and the black and the yellow meet down the spine of the car and say Ferrari, and that auctioned off for charity for like $26 million or something.
wow.
Just unreal. It was all for charity.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, even so, that's a lot of wedge.
It is a lot of wedge. Yeah. I didn't contribute or bid on that one, unfortunately.
Did you not bid on that one? No,
No,
I thought about it, but
ad
I mean,
revenue on
I
a
did. Oh, don't talk to me about ad revenue. Ad
ad
revenue and Facebook
revenue.
revenue at the moment. Oh my god.
YouTube, honestly, and I'm not exaggerating, and I don't expect people to get their violins out, but in the past 12 months, YouTube ad revenue for the same amount of views and timed hours watched has absolutely collapsed. I reckon it's not
Yep.
even it's at about a third of what it was 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Same. here.
and everyone I speak to, like I was talking to Raz about it the other day, anyone in our space is just like, what has happened to YouTube? It has absolutely died, and it's quite scary. And also videos, a lot of the videos are put out and they'll start off quite strong and then just stop. And I know that's been the case for a while with a lot of YouTube stuff, but it is just, I don't know, it's getting a little bit, yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm a little bit worried about it, because it's it yeah, there was a time where you could just about survive on ad revenue, but
Yeah.
not anymore. It's
No.
and that's why
And-
we're grateful to have Michelin as, I know we haven't
Yeah.
mentioned them yet, but people like Michelin as channel sponsors, and because you just need it now. There's no other
Yeah.
way of surviving.
And Facebook revenue's the same. That's probably worse. I think Facebook revenue for me,
Yeah.
similar amount of views. It's probably down. I'm getting 10 to 15% of what I was 12 months ago.
Yeah, same.
I mean, the amount of money, the money comes into my bank account, and I'm like, "What's that for?" And then you go and you
Yeah.
go, "Oh, it's Facebook. Wow, there's
Yeah.
a zero missing off the end." No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's like, oh, have I
Alright,
just
anyway.
refunded something have I returned something that was really not worth returning? Oh no, that was my Facebook income for the last month.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's,
I
yeah.
think I know this isn't the subject of the podcast, but I've done a few kind of ad integrations recently, or talked about other ad integrations on the channel, and people moan, "Oh, it's a bloody advert." I had a video go out last week. It was a paid promotion for a dash cam company. Oh, it's the bloody longest advert ever. Yeah, and you watched it for free, and that is how I'm able to make these videos. Otherwise, I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
just, it's not like the old days where you could just have ad revenue. You have to have placed ads and integrations and sponsor videos every now and again, and great brand partners that can work with. Otherwise, it just
Yep.
doesn't work. And we're not all as lucky as Matt Armstrong, who's just watched his latest video this morning.
Yeah,
And
same.
he's done. So it's not even been out 12 hours, and it's done nearly 2 million views. I'm like, oh my god.
I
Yeah.
know.
And it was brilliant, obviously. Anyway.
Yeah, and he
shall
had about 5 integrations in that, actually.
Yeah, he
There was
did, yeah.
various, including, unfortunately, one of those, what do you call them?
The car ambulance
Yeah.
chases.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but yeah.
he doesn't need that in his video.
No, he doesn't.
That's
No.
that's a bit not great
No.
seeing that. But anyway,
don't get me on that subject. So here's a segue. Instead of talking about earning money, shall we talk about how you can spend some money?
yay!
Hey. So the PCP car finance challenge.
Yeah.
I might have bent the rules a little bit on this one.
Oh no, here
A
we
little
go.
bit.
Excuses already.
No, but it was part of the conversation. Are we going to go low first?
Yeah, we'll go low first. I haven't. Mine are around about those figures. We're
Yeah.
given some they're not
Yeah.
obviously trying to find something for exactly 250 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I've
Yeah.
kind of got a low, a medium, and a high.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Pat. Yeah, we basically Pat's just messaged me or messaged us in the chat to say that he's no longer part of this podcast, which is a
Oh, he
shame.
can't come
But
back on it, I suppose, can he?
no,
No. Mm.
so we're not going to get to hear Pat's. But I've got a few, you've got a few.
Yeah.
Essentially, I know we've had a lot of doom and gloom on the podcast over the past couple of years, talking about just cars costing an arm and a leg, which they do. Depreciation, that's something we're going to focus on in the next podcast, but not depreciation, something different to depreciation. But we thought, let's try and be a bit upbeat on this podcast and talk about something positive. And in fact, when I was researching it last night and this morning, Lou was like, "So what are you talking about in the podcast?" I was like, "Oh, we're going to talk about like good finance deals." And she was like, "Yay, positive!" But yeah, there are some deals to be had, and it's not all doom and gloom.
Nope.
And so we've set ourselves some monthly costs with a 10% deposit, which is about average for normal finance. And yeah, let's see. As always, Ped and I have got no idea what we've chosen because we've not told each other, because it's all part of the enjoyment for our own sake, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So, Ped, do you want to start with your one?
Well, yes, I've got I've got a car for the first one, but I've got two different options of buying that car, both on a monthly basis, which I thought would be interesting to kind of talk about.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
And first up, it is an electric car.
Yes.
But I think it's the coolest electric car that you can currently buy.
Okay.
So let me put it into the chat box for you. So I have looked at some ways to finance a Renault 5.
Okay.
And the first one, I've gone on to CarWow because they do like a checker.
Yeah.
Now the challenge with the Renault 5 is there is a fairly big range of price from like low 20s to about 30 grand, depending on the size of battery and trim and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But the one I've looked at is £23,000 car. So it is the smaller battery, I think.
Yep.
But it works out at £224 a month.
Well, it doesn't with 10% deposit, Ped.
This is the thing I wanted to talk about, right? There's a couple of things. So it's not a 10% deposit. It's more like it's £4,200.
Yeah.
So it's nearly 20% deposit. But I didn't think a £4,000 deposit was actually that horrible.
Yep.
I thought the APR at 5.9% was pretty good.
Yep.
And then an optional final payment of just shy of 11,000 quid.
Yep.
So you are paying on a £23,000 car. What are we talking there? Amount of credit is 23.5 grand, I suppose.
Yep.
So I looked at that and went, okay, well, it gets you into the car for £225 a month. If you went a higher spec, there's also a grant on there as well, because there's now this new EV grant that you can claim back on some cars, isn't there? Which we talked about on the pod a few weeks ago.
Yep.
The other option is, and let me put this one in, same car, but now instead of a PCP, I thought, what about looking at a lease deal?
Now, I must admit, the lease deal, is that business only? Or is that?
No, this is a
personal
lease. Yeah.
Okay.
So really cool green Renault 5.
Mm.
Now this came out at just over £200 a month.
But a lease deal, what happens at the end of it? You have to buy it.
It's not your car. You give the car back. You basically, again, so depending on what the lease deal is, so some lease deals will include things like tires, servicing.
Yep.
So you're just renting the car, and at the end of the term, this is a 36-month term, you just
Yep.
give the car back, and go on and get a different lease. So
Okay.
I'm not an expert on leasing, by the way, and I've never leased a car, but quite often when I'm looking at my PCP deals,
Yep.
all you're really doing is trying to, I don't know about with your ones, is trying to kind of maintain your deposit so that when
Yep.
you get to the end of your PCP, you've retained your deposit in the car, and you can then use that to put a deposit down on another car and pay a monthly payment on a PCP deal for 2, 3, 4 years, and just
Sure.
keep changing cars. This is similar. The challenge or the difference here is often with a lot of these lease deals is you don't actually have a down payment. You just pay a monthly payment. It might cost you a little bit more per month, but it could well include things like, tires,
Yep.
servicing. The only thing you have to be really careful of is there's a mileage limit, and then
Yep.
there's an extra charge for every mile you go over the mileage limit. You'll have like a per mile charge, so you have to be a bit
Yeah.
careful of that. But that's at 6,000 miles a year. So that's the other thing, a talking point. I know we said around 10,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
The reason I put that in is that I think when people are doing these kind of either PCP or lease deals, it's super tempting to put a lower miles per year number in to get the mile or to get the monthly down, but then you can't use the car as much as you like.
No, and I mean, even you've fallen foul a bit for that in your early days with your Boxster,
Yeah,
your
because then you
GTS. I
end up
remember.
being that guy, right? You
Yeah.
can't. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd probably before I've got access to lots of cars now, but I easily do 12 to 15,000 miles a year,
Yeah.
quite
What?
quite regularly. If I was only using one car, so
What?
if this is the only car you're going to buy,
Yeah.
you know, you need to make sure that your mileage limit, and that it's also the same for whatever insurance policy you take out. Your insurance policy is likely to have a mileage limit per year, and that needs
Yep.
to be the accurate number as well.
Yep.
Um,
Well, just
but
looking actually, that lease deal that you said that you can easily just go from 6,000. So it's £202 a month at 6,000. If you bring out 10,000 miles a year, that
yeah,
increase it to 214. So it's not a massive difference. And you
ah,
think you're paying an extra
well,
£12
why
a
wouldn't you do
month
that?
for that that peace of mind. And actually the initial payment, which I think in lease deals they call it the initial payment, but actually it's if you look at it in another way, it's like your deposit.
Oh, there we
Um,
go. 12,
yeah,
2.5 grand.
2.5 grand, which is about 10%, right? So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's amazing value. I mean, you can't.
that's a shed load of car for that. I mean, yes, it's not for everyone. It only does a couple of 100 miles of range.
Yeah,
But in terms of affordable EVs, everyone's always bitching about electric cars being too expensive.
yeah,
That's one of the best electric cars you can buy. I
for
think it
50 quid
looks
a week.
mega for
Yeah,
50 quid a week.
yeah, yeah,
No
yeah,
wonder they're selling them faster than they can bloody make them.
yeah. And on top of anything, the only reason I would have one is because they look cool. I think
Yeah,
they.
and I'm like, when I went on this, I thought, well, I quite fancy one of them actually. So I'd either have it in yellow or blue. Blue, a
Yeah,
bit like Tony's done. So Tony, TRL deals, Mr. Tony Lewis.
yeah.
He's ordered one with blue and then gold trim, so he's going to make it look a little bit like his Clio Williams.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm
Oh
looking
yeah,
if he sticks to that, because I think last time I
yeah.
talked to him, he said he might be cancelling it because he's worried about. I think they put the prices up recently. I don't know,
Oh
but then
okay,
that
okay.
doesn't say that, so I don't know.
But there's mine.
Um, okay.
250 quid will get you a Renault 5, whether you lease it or PCP it. Because I guess the PCP, you have got the option at the end to refinance the balloon
Yep.
or pay off the balloon and keep the car.
Yes.
Whereas a lease deal, you
Yes.
don't.
Yeah, but let's be realistic.
How many people do that?
How many people do that? And also, if you think about it sensibly, I'm sure if you really like that car that you're in, you could then buy it. You could buy a 3-year-old one. Or, there'd be loads of them online or whatever. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you're buying an electric car and you're having it 3 years, I very much doubt at the end of those 3 years you're going to want to buy that car. But that's interesting.
The only thing I would say is a good friend of mine, you know, Andrew from the Fish. He had
Yeah.
a Model Y Tesla it was on one of these salary sacrifice schemes, which are effectively a lease deal, right?
Yeah.
And when he gave the car back, they were super picky about its condition. And they were like, oh, there's a scratch here and a scratch there. And they started to try and charge for putting all those things right. So I
Yeah.
think you just have to, you have to remember it is not your car. So you do have to look after it. Because if you give it back
Yeah.
in a shit state, it's going to
Yeah.
cost you.
I remember when I worked in the fashion industry at Storm in London, and I used to help a lot of the people in at Storm in the agency with cars. You know, they're like, "Oh, Joe, I'm looking for this and looking for that," and obviously that was before I worked in the car world, but I was obsessed with them. So I'd be like, "Yeah, no worries," and then I'd spend all night like looking, researching. And this one girl that I worked with, she got herself like a nice 1 Series BMW brand new on a 3-year PCP. And I didn't know, but during her 3 years, she had 2 kids during that time, and she had a dog, and the car
Oh.
was absolutely battered. Like, she obviously couldn't
Oh,
drive
no.
because every panel had marks and scratches on it.
No.
The dog had chewed in the back seat, so like one of the bases of the back seat was completely gone. The headrests were missing, or the baby had been like the car was in a horrible state. But she just assumed that at the end of those 3 years, because at the start I'd said, right, PCP, at the end of it, you can just hand the car back. She took that literally. She was like,
Oh,
oh,
no.
you can just hand it back in any state. And
Oh,
of
my
course, she
God.
handed it back, and BMW, I think she got charged about £4,000 in total with bodywork damages. Oh, and the car was only probably 20 odd £1,000 new. So, but yeah, I mean, hopefully anyone watching and listening to this podcast has the intelligence to understand that, yeah, you've got to give these cars back at whether it's PCP or a lease, they've got to be representable value of condition rather. But yeah, nice.
There you
Okay,
go.
well
So
that's
which BMW did you select for under 250 quid then?
there are no BMWs. There are no BMWs in my list at all, actually, which is
Wow.
yeah, I know.
You're feeling all right. Do you want to go and have a lie down?
Well, and I'm going to start with an electric car.
No, this is what's going on. Where's Joe? Someone's abducted him.
That should open up.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Do you know what? That's so funny. Dacia Spring.
Yeah.
I think. What was the car that was announced yesterday that's just become the cheapest electric car on sale? This was the cheapest electric car on sale.
Oh, is it the new BYD Seal or something? Not Seal.
Yeah, probably.
Dolphin or some crap.
Yeah, it's probably because it's cheap because they give you one and then they pay you to take pictures of it and put them on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
A Dacia. But are you feeling all right, mate? You've chosen a Dacia.
So it's a Dacia. The full one we're looking at in this is a Dacia Spring Expression Electric 45, which is basically the entry-level electric Spring that they do.
Look at the price of that.
14,995 is full retail price. But you get a dealer deposit contribution of 2,250 quid, which brings that down to about 12.5 grand or something. With a customer deposit of 1,500 quid, which is 10%, over 36 months and 10,000 miles, you'll be paying £164 a month, which works out about 40 quid a week. So
0% APR as well.
At 0%. So it's not substantially cheaper than what you've. And what's interesting is your car lost. What was it about your Renault 5 that you showed us? Lost about 50% of its value in 3 years. Whereas this, if you look, its optional final payment is 5,300. So it loses 2/3 of its value. So actually, the monthly payments, when you look at it, 164, that's not substantially cheaper than your 200 quid and that's why. It's because you're actually paying off, even though it's 0% APR, you're actually paying off more of the car because it depreciates much quicker than the Renault 5 supposedly.
Yeah.
But still, 160 quid a month. Like,
mate, that's cool. I mean, it makes Pat's AMI look expensive.
Yeah. Well, 160 quid a month, and you actually get the car to use it. It doesn't have any. I'm sure it does have some special Dacia features, but
Well,
yeah,
to be,
it's,
I'm a little bit of a Dacia fanboy, but
yeah,
I mean, I haven't driven a Spring, but I've had a really good look at one up close, and they're really good. They look like a really cool car. I like Dacia's kind of design language thing going on at the moment. I just think their
yep,
cars look cool. I like
yep,
them as a brand because there's loads of and I only know this because of the next podcast we're doing I might well be thinking of a Dacia in that. There's loads
yeah,
of like little gadgets and add-ons and accessories you can collect. That's
yeah.
I approve. Petrolped
Nice.
approves this message.
Yeah.
Very
No, I
good.
like both of ours. There you go, guys. If you're listening, if you've got a minimal budget and you want a small
Yeah,
electric car, there's two brilliant offerings there, both under 215 quid a month.
yeah,
Very affordable. All right,
yeah,
next one.
yeah.
Take us up a level,
Uh,
Ped.
Oh, electric cars, they're too
Oh.
expensive. You can't afford those. They bloody can. So, next up, it's another electric car. um, but and I have so the target, our monthly fee or monthly target was £500,
Yeah.
and I have exceeded that a little bit.
Okay.
However,
With one
it is
with 500 miles a year or something as well, probably.
it's a personal contract hire, so it's like a
Okay.
lease,
Yep.
but it's a cool car. Bear with
Okay.
me, caller. Let me drop this into the little chat box.
Oh,
There
here we
you go.
go. Oh. Well, first thing to say is Pat has put. Have you noticed in our group?
No, has he? No, has
So
he put the same one? Oh
Pat,
no!
yeah, Pat,
Yeah.
Pat's actually put the Ioniq 5N. So that's great that Pat's not in this chat.
Yeah.
Okay, four grand. So 1 second. So what's the retail price on these now?
They are like
Well, the new
60
70
grand.
grand. Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Um.
So, and is that
So
is that a,
£4,000 deposit and £550 a month.
that's a personal contract hire, not not
Yeah.
PCP. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Now, there is a
4
downside
grand.
to this,
Okay.
and the downside is it's only 5,000 miles a year.
And you can't tweak that.
Well, you could if you click the Inquire Now button. I'm sure you could probably change that, but it would
Okay. Yeah.
change the numbers.
And that's
But
over
it is,
4 years as well, I suppose.
yeah. Now this is
Yeah.
through the Richmond Motor Group.
Okay.
But there were a few other deals around. But for me, I mean, I only know this because I know a couple of people who bought an Ioniq 5N on the back of me having that press car, 12 months ago. I took
Yep.
it to show a couple of mates, and they literally both ordered one that week. So,
Wow.
and they love it. They absolutely love the car, and they are just mega things. But
Yep.
that for 550 quid a month, that is
Yep.
a lot of car.
Yep. And the initial payment is 4 grand, which is actually well under 10%. That's what,
Yeah.
6%. And I've just worked out that at 9p a mile, so you do get excess. Maybe you just pay. Maybe there are no maybe you can't set the annual mileage. You just have to pay
Yeah.
9p a mile. I think with my calculations, if you did 10,000 miles, it's going to be an extra 45 quid.
Right.
Sounds, yeah. So it's still well under 600 quid.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is a great car. I'm a big fan of that as well. Jesus,
Yeah.
what are we doing? We're talking about too many electric cars, but yes.
Mate, can we? Well, I was going to say, can we capture this moment for history? But we have because it's recorded. All the petrolheads are now flocking away from the podcast and leaving us in droves because we're talking about electric cars. But to be fair, that for me, they are, I think, the two best electric cars on sale today.
Yep.
Well, actually, the Spring. I wasn't thinking of the Spring, but the Renault 5 and the Ioniq 5, and they are not silly money.
No,
I know no, let me just rephrase that. £550 a month is a lot of money for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm not downplaying that. But actually, in the crazy world of car finance, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Good one.
So what BMW
like
have you
that.
chosen? Well, you said you didn't have any BMWs.
No, nothing. But let me just see. I had a couple in this price point, but I'm gonna go with this
Yeah,
one
me
because
too.
this is actually the one that if I had £500 a month and I needed to go out and buy something new, something that I would actually go out and spend my hard-earned cash on, this is what I would go out and buy. Now,
Here
hopefully,
we
if I
go.
send you this link, and it's not. Let's see if that
Yeah, here
opens
we
it.
go. Here we go.
Oh,
Oh,
it doesn't open it. Oh, yes, it
oh
does. It
no.
open
Yeah,
it?
no, yeah. Hold on.
It's thinking about it. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's the
Yeah.
wrong spec.
Oh,
No, no, it's the wrong spec. So if you go to the top next to the
this is
Octavia,
technology.
if you click on that and go down to VRS Estate,
Oh
um,
yes.
yeah,
Ow.
okay. So
Oh
so
mate,
I've
what a
chosen
car.
a Skoda
Wow.
Octavia Estate VRS or VRS
Yeah.
Estate. I don't know which way you say it. I know we're both big fans of
Oh
Skoda
mate,
and this particular car.
mega
Now,
car.
what's interesting with Skoda, and I've noticed a few manufacturers are
Oh
doing this, is not only is there a PCP option or personal contract hire or business contract hire, there's also within personal contract hire or personal PCP, there are two options that Skoda offer at the moment, and
hmm.
it's a little bit interesting because on the face of it, you'd think, oh well, I'm going to go the 0% option and
Yeah.
£1,000 from Skoda, but actually, in most of the specs that I've looked at, it's actually better value and lower monthlies if you go for the 6.4 APR and then Skoda give you £4,000 contribution to the car.
Wow.
So the one that I worked out, and I've written it down here because I just want to make sure I bring it up. So 10,000 miles a year over
Yeah.
48 months, £4,100 deposit, which is 10%. Skoda then give you another £4,000, and it works out £490 a month,
Wow.
which again is, if you went back 5 years or especially 10 years, that would be a lot of money to spend on a Octavia for on a monthly contract. But actually in today's world, I think that's really, really reasonable.
That I think that's one of the best cars VAG make.
Yeah,
If you
100%.
across the whole group, I think
Yeah,
it's one of the best cars. It's super practical. I think they
yeah,
look great, especially if you get
yeah.
they do some really nice colors as well. They drive brilliantly. Did they still do the manual or not? Did they stop doing that?
I think the manual's stopped now. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
the
that's a
the
shame.
manual.
Um,
Yeah.
but just brilliant. And for that's mega.
Yeah, and if you actually went personal contract hire, so
Yeah.
using it's actually with a just under a 10% deposit over 36 months. It's actually, and this is with 10,000 miles, so
Mm.
it's actually £414 a month. So it's
Wow.
closer to 400 quid a month over 36 months. So
There you go.
uh,
Compare that to that S5 and the price of that S5. Which would you have?
yeah, well, I'd have this every day of the week. Um, I think it's a much better car. It's just as big and spacious. It's cool. It's understated. There's just something. I mean, I love Skodas. I used to love them when they were shit when I was a kid, and
Super
and
Estelle.
yeah, and I love them. In the last 15 years as they got better and better. But that to me, for well, if you're using personal contract hire, just over 400 quid a month. Yes, I mean you can't. You can't argue with that. You don't
Yeah, yeah.
need any more car. Like I would, and I'm sorry, Tony, if you're listening to this, but as you probably know, I'm not in love with my M5 Touring. But if that was swapped out with the Skoda Octavia VRS Estate, I would not be devastated because I think it offers everything you want in a car and all the practicality in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so there you go. So that's my mid-run car.
Ooh.
Oh,
Now, my last one, I, I ran out of time a bit, and I'm sure I could find a PCP deal on this, but I found another lease deal. I don't know what it
okay.
is about me and lease deals today. but it's a car that we both love and have experienced recently.
We both love and have experienced recently.
Yeah.
911 ST.
Yeah. Oh, I wish.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So
Nice.
our budget is £750 now.
Yeah.
So I've gone for a GR Yaris.
Yep.
And this is the Rovanpera one. So I think it's not the top spec, but the one down from the top spec.
Okay.
But mega car for £758 a month. Now
That's a
it
lot
does
of money,
have
though, isn't it?
it's a lot of money, and it's a big initial. I only just spotted the initial payment actually.
Yeah.
It's like £9,000.
Wow.
Especially now, I'm looking at it going, why did I think that was a good deal when you've just showed us that Skoda for 500 quid and I want to know 400 quid? So maybe this
Yeah.
is a rubbish deal. Maybe just ignore what I'm saying and don't.
Yeah, I think if I'm being honest, that's I mean that is a lot of money, isn't it? What are they based? About 50 grand now.
Yeah. Oh, and it's 5,000 miles. And oh man, I've just been
Wow.
this one's £58,000 car.
Jesus Christ. I mean
which 58 grand for a Yaris is stupid, but they are
yes.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
So
well,
maybe
that's a nice example of what not to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna go buy a Renault 5.
Ped, you're doing so well up until that one.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was doing my research and kind of ran out of time a bit and thought, that looks all right. And then I've just started looking at the details now. I'm like, no. I noticed on the spec it goes boot space. It doesn't give you any spec for boot space because it doesn't have one.
Well, that's accurate, yeah. I think, ironically, though, this was the hardest one because there's a lot of really nice, let's say, sports cars, M cars, 911s above at or around £1,000, but
Yeah.
at the £700 mark, it's a 750. It is. I mean, you've got the monthlies almost bang on there, but that is.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
the one. So I did have, and I've deleted it unfortunately. So Pat in the WhatsApp group had suggested Alpine A110, and I did have Alpine A110, and the reason I took it out was so interestingly, the Alpine A110 over the last couple of months have had some 0% finance deals from Alpine, really attractive ones, but they don't run them for very long.
Yeah.
And if you get one of them, then they're like super interesting. But you can easily get an Alpine A110 for 700 quid a month.
Okay. Oh, well,
that's a proper car.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. 100%. Well, that's because the Alpines. Well, we've seen their residuals are really good, so I guess that's how they managed.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Well, it's funny. My final one at that price point, it's weird because we kind of I guess with the site we both started with these tiny super mini electric things, then we both went up to like mid-size sporty family wagons in a way. And then we're both going to end with hot hatches, which is
really? What hot hatch have you put on?
Which is So, like I said, I did like you struggle a little bit with this price point, and although I think our earlier options are definitely good value, whereas both of these that we've suggested probably aren't amazing value.
The one I haven't suggested, of course, is you could have bought a 991.2 GTS Cabriolet for £750 a month, but it'd have blown up. So yeah.
So I don't know what's going to come up here. Oh, actually, it's coming up.
Oh, really? Ooh.
So yeah, at the moment, Audi are doing really good contributions towards RS3s. So I've got an RS3 here, which obviously the very latest one, which has been recently updated, with a £6,200 deposit, which is 10%, over. What have I said? I've said over 48 months for this one, so almost maximum term. Annual mileage 10,000. It works out at £693 or £689 a month. Yeah, £689 with a £6,000 deposit, which is that's a 62 grand car. So and that's again PCP, and I've just seen they've got a personal contract hire option here as well. So I'll just click on that and see. let's have a look. Rentals and advance. Let's bring that up to maximum because I think that gives us 30. So that's only okay. Yeah. So initial rental. That's not even 10%. Duration. Let's bring that up to 36 months over 3 years. And annual mileage. Let's ramp that up to 10,000. So with personal contract hire, it works out at 600. No, 1 second. Oh, okay, so interestingly, it's actually more expensive personal contract hire because you don't get that 4.5 or whatever it was, 5 grand deposit contribution from Audi. So you don't get that on the
Yeah.
contract hire. So if you're getting one of these, and to me, it looks like you're better off going PCP. Oh, it's actually 5,625 quid that Audi put towards your RS3. So
Wow.
yeah, it's not amazing value, and I think a lot of people will be like, Jesus,
It's a lot of car.
700 plus. Yeah, it's a lot of car, but then £700 a month is a
You
lot
got
of
an
money.
RS6 for that 5 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the sticky point. But yeah,
The
there you
other
go.
thing to say is with all of these things is have a shop round for your finance as well, because these are deals that we found mostly, I think, on manufacturers' websites or
Yep.
dealers.
Yep.
But you might well find independent finance is cheaper. What you won't get, though, in many cases, that big hefty deposit contribution, I would guess.
Yeah.
That's only
Yeah.
available if you take out the finance from them. But you
Yep.
might find that the APR and the details of other finance is still even better because they'll just have lower APRs and stuff.
And also, if
What-
cars are in stock as well, if you walk into a
Yeah.
Skoda dealer and they've got a car there, then you might be able to haggle a little bit more off the price.
But and I know there'll be some people going, "Oh, but your finance, you're just encouraging people to get into debt," which I had so much of that when I bought my Porsche, because I had a paid integration with my finance company, and I'm not really. It's just like the vast majority of people, whether you like it or not, buy their cars on finance. It's like 80% or something. Even Ferraris, something ridiculous with Ferraris. It's over 70% of Ferraris are bought on Ferrari finance.
Yeah.
So it's how people buy cars now. But I found it really interesting going through that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you're buying an electric car and you can get an electric car on 0% APR, so you're not paying any interest, then I think you'd almost be mad not to finance it, because owning outright an electric car to me is it is like I would stay up at night. It would give me nightmares because all you'd think about is how much money it's losing, whereas if you're buying it on a PCP and you've got a guaranteed final value or whatever it is, at least you can get rid of it if shit hits the fan. Taycan. Sorry.
But I mean, it's interesting though, because I've got a friend of mine. I was helping him look at a car to buy last week, and he was looking at buying a new one and buying it outright. And I said, well, if you're buying a new one and you're buying it outright, then unless you're desperate to spec a car, and the car we were looking at, the only thing you could spec was the color. So I said, you may as well try and find a 6-month-old ex-demonstrator, because that will already have, I don't know what percentage of value, 15, 20% of value taken off it. So do that. So anyway,
Definitely. Cool. Oh,
cool.
There you go.
Can I
just
bang
over
on
an
it?
hour.
Well, just over an hour. Mate. So put in the comments, what would you buy with your 250, 500 or 750 quid? It's a great game to play. Although I was sat in bed yesterday morning with a cup of tea, and I'm on Auto Trader, and Tracy's like, "What are you doing on Auto Trader? You've just bought a car." I went, "No, it's research. It's research, darling. It's okay." I'm not buying another one. No, exactly. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. As Joe said, we are so close to hitting a big milestone on YouTube. And again, give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram, and tune in next week. But for now, easy now.
Easy now. Big thanks once again to Michelin for supporting us. And we've got an interesting Michelin subject that we're going to talk about in next week's pod.
Oh, yes.
Next episode.
Definitely.
So stay tuned for that. Goodbye.
See you, Mom. Bye.